Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast battle report. Today, the forces of the Demons, the Monster Mesh, made famous by Cody, are taking on my 2,000 points of Drukhari in this battle report. Let's begin.
The Dark King.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Hooded Goblin here in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. We are here once again with another cool looking battle report for you. I got my new objectives in. Thank you, Dream T. Oh, look at them. They look so cool. Ready for 9th edition. We are playing mission 11 of the GT pack, and it is the WTC table number 4 setup. So make sure you check the link down below to the WTC rules. Being on Team Canada means we like practicing on the worldwide stage standard, and this is one of the medium tables. These craters are supposed to be like 9 inches big like this, but we're using those cool looking foresty craters for now. So let's dive into the armies and sit back for what's going to be the rematch of the last time I faced the Demons. And here we have 2,000 points of Drukhari. This is the list that I have been working on for the better part of a month and a half to 2 months worth. So it is triple patrols. 1, 2, 3 patrols. Let's dive in to see how this list ticks, because at the surface it looks like an eclectic bunch of Drukhari models as well. So it starts with a triple patrol, so I get all my command points back, being raiding force. Patrol of Cabal of the Blackheart with Archon Skari, who is my face is your face Archon. He's a classic Drukhari model. He does have a Husk Blade and a Blast Pistol. Then we have a Slith and 5 Cabalite Warriors, and that is the entirety of the patrol. His Warlord trait is Labyrinthine Cunning for regenerating command points, and he doesn't have a relic. But I have got a free relic in the list, and I spent a CP for another relic. I'll get to that in a second. Essentially, this gives me access to Agents of Vect and CP regeneration. And the Slith is there to do actions, because he is infantry. Then we have a patrol of Witch Cult. This is Cult of the Red Grief, so they can advance and charge. Have a Succubus. I have 5 Witches with no upgrades. A Beast Pack Master with an Agonizer. That unlocks 2 units of Beasts. Of course, they do not take up a slot when you take them and there's a Beastmaster, but you need a Beastmaster to take them in match play. So they're just free fast attack slots. My Hellions, they're done being painted. There you go. I'm just working on the bases right now, but they look pretty snazzy. 5 of them. And then 9 Reaver Jet Bikes with 3 Heat Lances. The advance and charge is really good for them. I give them the +1 toughness combat drug. I give my Hellions either the +1 attack or +1 strength. I've been toying mainly with the +1 strength drug right now. The +2 leadership goes on the Beast Pack Master, because the beasts can use his leadership. The +2 inches of movement goes on these witches. And then she normally goes for +1 attack or +1 strength. Usually +1 attack. And then the last and largest of the patrols is a custom coven from the Psychic Awakening. It is a Dark Technomancers, which gives them bonuses to shoot. Basically makes all their guns like plasma guns. And Masters of Mutagen, which makes all poison weapons auto wound on 6s against non-titanic vehicle, which is like all the venoms, close combat weapons, that sort of thing. I've got a Homunculus. He's running a electrocorrosive weapon, a hex rifle, which is a sniper rifle. And Drazar, because he is absolutely incredible. And I love his paint job. To support him, I've got 2 units of Incubi. 1, 2. 1 new, 1 old. There you go. And 3 units of Rax, each with a hex rifle and an ossifactor as well. 6 Venoms as dedicated transports. And 2 Reapers, Forge Reapers. I'm working on this one. And this one is pretty much done. There you go. There you have it. As for stratagems pregame, I spend an Alliance of Agony, which allows me to give her a Warlord trait, which she gets the 3+ invulnerable save. Him a Warlord trait, which gives him he can regenerate 3 wounds at the start of each of my turns. I spend 1 command point for the Helm of Spite, which allows me to deny psychic power, and my free relic is the Nightmare Doll, which gives him a 4+, feel no pain, basically an ignore damage of a 4+. And that's it. 2,000 points. I have spent the extra points to put this Grizzly trophy here on this Venom because I had the points left over. Other than that, 2,000 points. Let's dive in to the Demons. And here we have the Monster Mash. That's right. Cody has brought his Demons for a rematch.
Well, better this time.
That's right. After you've really fine-tuned it.
Yep.
And after the game that you had against my Witch Cult, you changed a few things and you took it to an RTT and crushed it with it.
We did.
Not just one, but you crushed it. It was like a 20-person RTT.
Yep.
And there's a write-up that you did. I'll put the link in the description of how this list did at the RTT. Make sure you head on over to the Hooded Goblin Coach's Corner and read how the list did, because it played lots of Custodes.
Sure did.
And it played AdMech.
Yeah.
And
we got very high scores.
which are definitely armies that you'd normally be nervous about with the amount of shooting and survivability that they have. But this list has some cool tricks up its sleeves.
It sure does.
Okay, so Cody, take it away. What have you brought? This is just so people understand, it's a Supreme Command detachment, a patrol detachment, and a battalion detachment.
That's correct.
Okay.
So what you've got is you've got your 4 greater demons, all exalted. I go random, but I know a lot of people take 2 of the best traits and then go 1 random. I like a little bit of chaos. And these are the rolls for today. Some pretty decent rolls.
So this one has?
The +2 to move, +1 advance, +1 charge, 4 invulnerable.
Okay.
This one has the heroic intervention, and I can't remember what 5 is. I think it is. It triggers off morale.
Okay.
Then this guy has +1 power, +1 cast, and on a 6 is -1 to be hit with ranged weapons.
Nice.
And then she got the best you can get, which is the -1 to wound and the 4++.
And she is also the Locust.
She's also a locust.
There you go.
Yep.
Or there's 2 of them that are locusts.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then you have 10 Demonettes.
Yep, 10 demonettes.
Magnus.
Magnus is the warlord. He's there for the best death hex you can possibly get, great against a lot of armies. And just he's sort of the second
killing.
wave.
He's good. He has lots of powers. He can cast smites. He does damage.
Yep.
He's very fast.
He can remove a
He's
unit
a bully.
of Alarmist Terminators very quickly off the table.
Then you have Celeste,
Yep.
which is super attacks.
Yep, he's very fragile, but he gives me rerolls of 1s for these lovely ladies, and that helps a lot when you get trenched in against other combat armies, and he's great against hordes.
And last but not least,
The Nurglings, the All-Stars,
4 units.
the game winners. You got 5, 4, 3, and 3.
And these guys scoot up the board, get you objectives, score you primaries.
And just be a pain
Just
in the
are annoying little poop monsters.
Yep.
Cool little poop monsters. That's exactly what these are. So with that, 2,000 points. What's your relic?
So
Do you buy a relic?
I have to buy a relic.
You have to buy a relic.
1 relic for the Impossible Rogue to give him the 3-up invulnerable.
Perfect. Because Magnus, the reason Magnus is a warlord is to pay for the battalion, essentially, because it doesn't have to be keyword dependent. So as long as he's a warlord, you pay for a battalion. However, because he's the warlord, he's a 1,000 Sun, you only get a free 1,000 Sun relic, which you can't use because you don't have any other 1,000 Suns, which means you have to buy a relic here for your demons. Now, you could buy 2 relics if you want to, but then you're spending all the CP for the Exalted, etc.
This gets too expensive.
So how many CP do you start with?
5.
5 CPs, or 6 on turn 1.
Yes.
That's right. Awesome. So with that, let's dive into deployment. And here we are after deployment on mission 11. So it is basically Dawn of War deployment. We have 18 inches up. The Nurglings have deployed in positions up front. So we have 4 there. We have the big unit of 5 there. We have the Demonettes back here. We also have 1 unit of Nurglings back here and the other unit of Nurglings back here, basically to take all the board control that he needs. We have the 2 locusts. No, is that a locust? Yeah. So one of the...
Locust.
Okay, so, well, the whip was one of the locusts, right? Yes?
Sorry, yeah. Double locust.
So locust, he's no locust, he's no locust. And then these are like the durable one, the fast one. And then that one's the the one that consolidates and stuff, right?
Durable one, fast one.
Durable one, fast one. You see the one's durable. Okay.
Yep.
Then we've got Magnus and the Lord of Change behind this big wall. Now these are not unstable, which means if I do go on here, I could potentially see Magnus, but he's further than 36 inches, which is the range of my guns. So
You don't want to miss that.
he's going to hide behind that giant wall of doom because it is very, very tall. And then we have I put birds here as like bait again. Birds, Helions, Reaver jet bikes, witches, Reaper, Incubi, Rax, Incubi, Drazar, the Homunculus back here, another Reaper to basically try and get as many different angles as possible moving in. And that's that. And the Slith, the Succubus, and the Beast Master. In Deep Strike Reserve, I did put the 5 Cavalite Warriors instead of the Helions, because I like the Helion's speed and mobility early in the game, especially in matchups like this where he doesn't really have artillery or things that can kill the Helions right off the bat, which gives me like a leg up to get into the board essentially. So with that, it is time to decide who will go first or second. Cody, I think...
I don't care, actually.
You don't care. You're like, I don't care which way, either way. Well, you get to choose. Would I go... This is the same dilemma you had last time.
I like my hiding this time.
It's a lot better than last time, isn't it?
Let me figure that out.
Okay, we'll be back with Cody's decision after this.
Do some measurements.
While Cody measures out why he wants to go first or second, I'm going to tell you what the secondaries were. I picked Abhor the Witch, because he's got lots of Psyker characters. Engage on all fronts, because that's kind of what my army does. And Scramblers, because it's an easy 10 points, and my army's built for it. Cody took Mental Interrogation, because I have lots of characters, and he has lots of powers that are sort of like the same, right? And then we've got, he goes for Engage on all fronts, because he wants to get in my face, and Bring it down, because I have lots of vehicles, and he has to kill them. So other than that, he's still doing some measurements.
Okay. 49 inches away.
Cody has made a decision, and he's making me go first. He is relatively confident in his hiding, and he measured it out. And Magnus, with a warp time, is just outside of 12 of this Reaper. So I don't think he doesn't feel it's worth sacrificing Magnus into my lines for like a Venom or a bunch of birds. So, so he said, and I told him, I said, I would have made you go first, so you come at me, and then I can shoot you with everything. But so he made me go first. Okay, so with that, we dive into Drukhari, turn 1. And here we are after turn 1. The Slith stayed there and is going to deploy Scramblers. I essentially decided to use Symphony of Pain or whatever on Drazar to count the turn as 1 higher, so he gets a reroll charge right now. And then if I need to, I can CP reroll a charge on the Incubi to charge into these Nurglings. Meanwhile, the birds moved up because they're going to charge into Nurglings, but their idea is to kind of go up and block the movement of the 2 keepers there. Same thing on this side. There's Nurglings up against that wall. The Hellions have moved up here to charge in after shooting, potentially. And then the birds will also charge in because they're touching the wall here and essentially create a line up here as well. And then I moved all my Venoms. So most of my stuff is in range and line of sight of this guy here, especially him, they're not... unstable, so you can put them on top. And then these 2 can see both of them. So I'll probably do my shooting this way, and the target is the unkillable one. However, every wound I do to them is a good thing.
Yep.
It is a good thing. So with that, we're moving into my turn number 1, shooting, and it'll also mean that I get my Engage on all fronts and potentially points for killing a character. Okay, let's dive in to the shooting phase.
It's too late now.
So end of turn 1 for the Drukhari. It was a good turn. The Helions came in. I killed 3 Nurgling bases, and then the other 2 ran for morale. Unfortunate, but that happened here. I did have to Vect the Nurgling Infestation, which you can use at the end of any phase, because he would have just brought Nurglings back. I didn't think it was at the end of any phase. That was pretty crazy. So I've moved up. I've sort of blocked off this side here. Then we have over here, Drazar and all the Incubi only killed 2 Nurgling bases, because he passed a lot of impulse saves, and then 1 ran from morale. Oh no, 1 didn't run from morale. He equaled his morale, and then my Tormentor Helm kicked in, which made 1 Nurgling run. And that was it, but I was able to block off this side as well. So with that, we're moving into turn number 1 for the Demons. And I killed one Keeper Secret with all my shooting. And here we are after the movement phase. So this guy moves 16, moved to 6, +1 for advance, so actually moves 23 inches.
Yep.
-2, so 21 inches from over there across, all the way down here. Super, super fast. This one just moved this way, around this way as well. Magnus was able to use 16-inch movement to clear my birds. That was just my mistake. I should have just made a little divot here to make sure he couldn't go over that way. And then the Lord of Change has just moved up that way. Celeste Nurglings moved up this way, as well as all the Demonettes have kind of got onto that objective as well. So with that, moving into the Psychic phase, it is time for the Demons to put the pressure on. Now, note to self, Cody's won games where he loses all his keepers in one turn. So this is far from over. Turn number 1, done. So Magnus was able to turbo boost up, charge in. He killed a Venom. He killed 2 Venoms, actually. One in combat and one not. I was able to use a emergency disembark to save my characters from Magnus charging by kind of creating like a wall that he had to like get over. He couldn't get within with charging. So that was just a good use of a CP there. The Lord of Change killed a few of the Incubi and then charged in. Didn't do anything to Drazar. Drazar put 2 wounds on him. Celeste and the Nurglings killed the birds. That was pretty straightforward. This Keeper killed those birds. That was pretty straightforward. The other Keeper with the whip, the shooting, killed all the Hellions. Then made a good long charge into this Venom. Took 2 more damage, or 1 damage, sorry, to Overwatch, and then the Witches have gone out, but I have models on here because the Archon's right in the corner there. So I do hold 3 objectives here to his 3, so I'll get my 10 primary points as we move in to turn number 2. End of turn 2 movement. So a lot of shuffling has happened here. I've essentially put Scramblers down with them, but they're in that zone to get me engaged. I moved my Incubi out to get me engaged on that front there. My aim is to try to kill this Keeper here if I can, as well as potentially start doing some wounds on Magnus. I decided to keep Drazar in combat with the Lord of Change. That is a risky play. However, here is trying to do as much as I can there. In the meantime, I even moved the Homunculus here to be in 12 inches of 4 different Psychers to the Crucible of Malediction, and it failed on all 4 of them. Sad. It was like one of the best setups I could hope for. However, I did a roll above a 4, so no mortal wounds. I was hoping to do a few. It only cost me 1 command point though, so that's pretty good here. So, aim is to try and kill him. I got my Incubi out, and I moved 1 Venom up here, got a unit of Rax in. This unit fell back into that Venom, and then I have another unit of Rax in that Venom as well, but they didn't fall back. So just this Venom and unit Rax can't shoot. Everything else is able to shoot. So let's see what I can do as we move into my turn 2.
I think it's called the Fear Seeker.
And here we are after after my turn. I was able to kill that Keeper's Secrets, and then I got a lot of damage on Magnus. He's down to 5 wounds remaining after one of my Reapers put 7 damage on him with a single shot that got through. And then I charged a long bomb Incubi charge that would have done 6 more damage with Decapitating Strike, and then the bikes to hold him in combat for a turn. But my Incubi did fail their morale test, and I decided not to re-roll it, and then she gets to move and end closer because I failed the morale test. So she was over here. She literally got a free move, which is amazing. Awesome. Over here, this guy has 7 wounds left because Drazar and the Homunculus put some damage on them as well. But as we move into Cody's next turn, I do get another engage on the front. So I get my 2nd Scramblers, and Cody does get his... he will get actually 15 now. 1, 2, 3, and then you can test that one.
Yep.
So I only hold 2 because of that move, which was very, very good. He'll get his 15 primaries. Okay, so here we are. End of round 2. Sorry, I didn't give you a movement recap. But the demon that went into here went this way, charged into the bikes, killed 7, keeping Magnus out of combat, and then I got 2. So Magnus changed his spell to get a heal. So he healed himself, got a spell off, and then healed himself with the stratagem. So he's up to 8 wounds again. So good on Magnus, but he's not -1 to hit this turn.
I failed it.
And over here, Drazar died to a mortal wounds, and then my 1 Homunculus took the entirety copy of this and almost survived. Almost. However, this incubi miraculously survived, which is incredible. So he miraculously survived the whip there. So I only got 5 points this time for one objective, which is crazy. So let's move on to turn number 3 for the Drukhari. Here we are at the end of my turn 3 movement. My Cavalry Warriors did come in to set scramblers down. They deep struck, so they're back there. These witches have moved on to basically take this objective, and I've got Archon Skari here ready to charge in and maybe kill some Nurglings. We'll see. These guys got out of that venom, moved, and they're going to try to charge in, essentially take that objective away. I'm contesting this one because I'm out of 3 inches, and that's 2 there. My Slith is contesting this one here, so that one's nobody's. And over here, I've just got, I guess, they just moved back. I'm staying 6 inches out of the heroic intervention bubble of this model here, and I've split up my shooting to different flanks to make sure Magnus can't just go and like murder them all in one area. So with that, we're moving into turn 3. Magnus is back up at 8, so let's see if I can deal with him, because if I deal with him, that's good. But the keepers are the ones that really do most of the work in this list. So it's like, if I don't kill Magnus, he's just going to heal himself up and just be really annoying. And if not, then I'm going to rue the day. I'm going to rue the day. So let's dive into the next turn. Can you make some saves? We'll see. Volume. Let's try and get you with volume. End of turn number 3 for the Drukhari. I got really lucky here. I was able to kill Magnus with both Venoms, with Dark Technomonster, getting all 8 wounds off him. And then both Reapers did all the damage to kill. Well, both Reapers and then a couple of sniper rifles did the damage to kill the Keeper's Secrets, and that was that. So that was huge. So I also charged into here, killed a Nurgling. I charged into here, killed 2 Nurglings, which means I did take him off the objective, so he only gets 5 this turn. Moving into turn number 3, and I also got my last scramblers and another 3-point engage on all fronts. As we move into his turn, where he's going to basically go here and try and murder them, and he's going to basically go in and try and murder the Reapers, because the Reapers literally do all the damage, well, a lot of the big damage as well. Okay, with that, on to turn number 3. Okay, end of turn number 3. They moved up, basically charged and murdered that Reaper, and then some smites and mortal wounds killed the Beast Pack Master. So that's that. With that, we go into my turn. I do get 15 points this time, which helps offset the 5 points that I got last time. And with that, we move into turn number 4. I have 1 Reaper left, but he's all the way over here, so he should be able to skirt and just keep far away as we go into the final rounds of the game. Okay, so here we are at the end of the turn, and we are going to call it here. That's it. Game. With the way that the game is right now, it doesn't really look like Cody's going to be able to bounce back, so we're just going to basically count it up. But essentially, I can move my Rex over here to control that objective and stop him from scoring that. I can move my Cavalites back here and go in on this one to stop him from scoring that. And I can shoot them off the board, basically stopping him from scoring that while charging there. So essentially, I then take control of the primary, and he just can't catch up after that. Other than that, it was lower than average rolls on the invulnerable saves, but it does show that like 2 damage or d6 damage, if you do fail saves, sometimes they sting a lot. Magnus, though, I really like the whole changing the power for the heal power, and then using the Thousand Suns power, that when he does a power, he gets to heal. That's something I personally had completely forgotten about, which is not good. And I didn't have enough CP to vect you from changing the power at that point, because I'd used all the CPs. Now, I know this is a terrible matchup for your beast, your monster mash list, but even with what happened, would have you changed anything in the way that your gameplay was on the table?
Honestly, I made a bunch of mistakes, I think, at the end of turn 2, and that cost me the game. I forgot some key rules that I needed to do. Didn't move this guy up to secure that, but I could have denied the points. Like, I just made a bunch of little errors that just kind of took the wind out of my sails, and just got to clean up that a bit.
Yeah, other than that, it's all about getting those reps in. Yeah. But who was your MVP?
Probably still Seki.
Oh my goodness. If you are a demon player and you are not using Silseki, make sure you look at what that unit does. That thing is bonkers, mad, crazy. It'll clear a horde. It'll also clear tanks.
Yep.
It'll clear pretty much anything you need. And for the light cost of 200 points or whatever it is, 230.
Same as a keeper.
Same as the Keeper Secrets as well. So make sure you head on over to the Hooded Goblin and order yours today. They will ship it to you anywhere in the world, right?
Canada.
In Canada?
Canada.
Okay. Canada only, eh?
Yep.
Okay, so with that, Cody, thanks for the game. We'll catch you folks on the next battle report. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. As for me, I know that my Venoms with Dark Tech are really good against monsters. I just needed to sort of like delay. Magnus was the biggest thing. In that pivotal turn, had I not killed Magnus and the Keeper, I was in a very tough spot because that Keeper basically controls so much of the table. Although
I also made a huge mistake with Magnus piling in here when he should have just gone to the middle of the objective.
yeah,
That
so
cost me the game.
well, he was touching the
He was
unit here.
and I put him into here, and I could have stopped him there.
Oh, right, because when you piled in, you piled yourself into the racks.
And I could have stopped
so
in
then
the middle.
it stopped, which then allowed this little guy to basically contest that and stay out of three.
I could have been in a much better position controlling this for a couple turns.
Yep.
And then that keeper flying up on the wing.
That keeper, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
So it's like little stuff like that. Controlling that objective, forgetting to move this guy for 2 turns, just having him sit there do nothing.
Yeah, he was actually blending into that.
Yeah, I just forgot about him. So he could have come here and helped me hold this.
Obsec, super important.
So that was a huge mistake. And then forgetting I reroll ones on psychic powers with Magnus was a big mistake.
I think that was
cost
like
me-
one power that it came down
It
to.
cost me huge.
And your gaze that you
And I
like
forgot
had
to use my
a
gaze.
yeah, you don't have a counter or anything for it like
No,
on the
and I
it's always good to have counters when you're playing to remember because once it's like past the turn, it's hard to go back and do that stuff once you've gone past the turns. Now, other than that, be careful. If you fail morale tests and there's a keeper on the table, holy moly. That was literally like Inari level stuff right there.
I'm going for the keeper traits.
Oh, it's so good.
They're pretty much all decent. There's some that are really good.
Imagine if you're like playing a guard army and you shoot like a bunch of the little units and one of them just fails a morale in their turn or something, and this guy just goes whoop, and then like,
now
oh,
you're
it's a
charging
free movement phase.
Yep.
I was when that happened, I was like, why didn't I reroll that morale test over
And
there?
that was also a mistake sending the keeper into the bikes.
Yep.
The keeper should have came to about.
I thought you were just going to run into here, kill my OBSEC, or go into Archon and kill him, because that was the only thing that I had holding
Because
this
Magnus had
objective.
this. He was going to go first, and I forgot. I was playing 8, where I was thinking.
I would have gone first in that.
But
in that
Magnus
matchup.
would probably live through that combat.
He would have lived. He wouldn't have killed all of them, but the Keeper would have killed all of them. The thing is, by having the Keeper in, I was able to get Magnus out of combat, and then he didn't get to swing in that combat phase. Where that Keeper going over here, killing Archon Skari, stops my regen for CPs, and then the Archon was like one of the only things that could go in and effectively kill Nurglings.
We've got to see about this.
Yeah, so this is unstable. So if it's unstable, I think we're going to write into the WTC. I really feel that they should be unstable.
At least
If
on
not,
the top.
yeah. Like I know in previous WTCs, they would allow it as long as you just had it on the corner, right? So you could put a repulsor or whatever up here. But that would be my recommendation, because stuff like this, I don't do it very often, but against the Keepers, it was like, why wouldn't I do that against Keepers? So take note to self. If you just say when you play your games, hey, we're just going to call that bit unstable, it just means your player with flyers can't do that. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check the links down below. The Hooded Goblin, one of the sponsors of the channel, and check them out. After all, I'm Skari, your grateful host. Sign off until next time. The Dark Kid, and my face is your face. Mwahaha.